Before my wife's first love, David Evans, went on stage, he chickened out. I swapped performance slots with him and became instantly famous. But he deliberately fell down the stairs, scraped his ankle, and insisted I pushed him. To avenge him, my wife, Sarah Davis, broke my left leg. When setting the bone, Sarah Davis specifically instructed the doctor to turn my foot backward, heel forward. The doctor looked incredulous. Ms. Davis, Mr. Miller is a dancer you personally supported. He persevered for 10 years and finally achieved fame. How can he dance with such a twisted leg? Sarah Davis said, he heard David Evans, so he must suffer 1,000 times David Evans's pain. How can I not teach him a lesson? Once David Evans becomes a big star and isn't bullied anymore, I'll compensate him. 6 months later, I received an invitation from Starline Entertainment. When the contract termination agreement and divorce papers were laid before Sarah Davis, her eyes turned red. In a haze, I saw a doctor walking towards me anxiously. When I opened my eyes again, my left foot was pointing backward, heel forward. The twisted leg made it impossible for me to lie flat on the bed. A voice came from behind me. David Evans and Sarah Davis walked up to me. He lifted my blanket and gasped, covering his mouth in surprise. David Evans shrank behind Sarah Davis, pretending to wipe away tears. Sarah, I just complained a little casually. I didn't mean for Robert to pay such a heavy price. After all, I'm just a small actor, it's not a big deal. A little foot injury is nothing. Sarah Davis tenderly stroked his head. You're just too kind. Always sacrificing yourself, how can I not worry? Looking at David Evans's pitiful act, I felt a wave of nausea. A few days ago, the company sent me and David Evans to participate in a nationwide live competition. Before the competition started, David Evans suddenly said he hadn't even memorized the dance steps, dragging his feet and unwilling to go on stage. To prevent a broadcast mishap, the production team swapped my performance slot with David Evans's. I gave my all the judges lit up their lights for me, and the audience gave me the highest score ever. Nationwide viewers voted for me, and in minutes, I topped the charts. Returning backstage with excitement, I saw David Evans crying out, holding his scraped foot. Robert, I know you're jealous I dance better than you, and I wasn't going on stage anyway, but why did you have to push me down the stairs? Everyone backstage looked at me with contempt. What's the point of dancing well? He's got a rotten core, resorting to such despicable methods. Someone had already taken out their phone and started filming me. You just want fame, right? Easy, I'll make you famous right now. I wasn't a natural talent. I trained painstakingly for over 10 years for this day. Only I knew the bitterness and hardship involved. I couldn't let myself be destroyed like this. There are security cameras backstage, you can check. David Evans cried even more pitifully. Don't I know who pushed me? Do we really need to check the cameras? Robert, even now, you still want to smear my name? I was unable to defend myself because no one would believe a dancer would roll down the stairs on purpose right before going on stage. My thoughts snapped back to the present. I reached out and grabbed Sarah Davis's hand, begging her to fix my leg. Sarah, I really didn't push him. We've been together for 10 years, don't you know what kind of person I am? A flicker of reluctance crossed Sarah Davis's eyes, but she ultimately pulled her hand away from mine. I know you're kind. But people change when faced with fame and fortune. Are you seriously expecting me to believe that a simple boy like David would roll down the stairs just to frame you? All the injustice erupted in that instant, and I became somewhat hysterical. You can check the cameras. Why are you accusing me? Without caring about the truth? David Evans immediately trembled and shrank into Sarah Davis's arms. Sarah, Robert looked just like this when he pushed me down the stairs that day. I'm so scared, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. Sarah Davis pulled David Evans into her embrace and comforted him. Her gaze turned fierce when she looked at me. Robert Miller, I know you don't like David Evans, but I didn't realize you were this malicious. Do you have to drive David Evans to his death? I bit my lip hard, trying not to cry, but the tears burst forth the next second. Sarah Davis, are you really doing this to me? A look of disgust appeared in her eyes. It seems you still don't know where you went wrong. Do I need to break your other leg too? In that moment, I suddenly understood. Sarah Davis's heart had long since changed. Now, she would only believe David Evans's tears. David Evans trembled in Sarah Davis's arms, his eyes looking wronged. Robert also said that he'd trained for 10 years just waiting for this one chance, and if I didn't give it to him, he'd cut off my grandfather's medical expenses and beat my grandfather to death to feed to the dogs. Sarah Davis's eyes were bloodshot. Before I could explain, she grabbed my shoulder and dragged me off the bed. Robert Miller, how did you become so vicious? Now, get down on your knees and apologize to David Evans. David Evans was orphaned. His only living relative was a seriously ill grandfather. He relied on this persona when he clung to Sarah Davis's leg while begging on the street, pleading for her to take him in. But the last time I went to see his grandfather, I walked in on him furiously slapping his grandfather, saying, "You old geezer, I'm about to be a star, and I still have to wait on a dog like you." My right leg was forced down to kneel, but my left knee couldn't bend in the wrong direction. Under the pressure, the already injured spot broke again. The wound hadn't healed and burrs. Open again. My left leg just hung there limply. The doctor heard the commotion and rushed in. Seeing this, he hurried out to get help. Soon, a group of nurses and doctors rushed into my hospital room. Sarah Davis clearly panicked. How did this happen? David Evans goaded from the side, "Sarah, this is just his trick. He just wants his leg to fall off to gain sympathy and get it fixed." Sarah Davis sneered. "Yes, this is just your scheme. Doctor, continue to set it as I instructed before. Only when he truly repents will I consider fixing it for him." The doctors and nurses exchanged glances, but Sarah Davis funded this hospital, no one dared defy her. Just as the doctor was about to give me anesthesia, David Evans said tearfully, "I wish I had anesthesia when I fell down the stairs." With Sarah Davis's command, no one dared give me anesthesia. After waves of agonizing, bone-deep pain, I fainted directly from the pain. When I opened my eyes again, my leg was completely numb. David Evans and Sarah Davis didn't notice I was awake. They embraced and passionately kissed right by my hospital bed. Sarah Davis had already lifted David Evans's shirt and reached inside. I always thought Sarah Davis pitied David Evans, doting on him like a younger brother. They were actually doing this right by my hospital bed. Sarah Davis softly leaned into David Evans's arms. David Evans gazed lovingly at the woman in his arms. "Sarah, whose body do you like more? Mine or Robert's?" "Yours, of course. Your body is so good, unlike Robert Miller, who's always stiff like a log." As she spoke, Sarah Davis carefully stroked David Evans's abs, her eyes full of tender affection. David Evans faced me, a smile playing on his lips. He was doing all this on purpose for me to see. He pushed Sarah Davis away, feigning alarm. "Robert, you're awake." Seeing my pale face, Sarah Davis finally felt a pang of pity and told David Evans to leave. She touched my face and poured me a glass of water. "Rob. I just wanted you to apologize to David Evans. You have me, you have the company, but what about David Evans? Besides a seriously ill grandfather, he has nothing. He's like a younger brother to us. You should yield to him." "Younger brother?" Sarah Davis still thought I hadn't seen their behavior just now, that I was completely in the dark. What she had done to my leg was just to get a smile out of David Evans. Looking at the person I'd wanted to spend my life with had become this, I felt both pathetic and ridiculous. Sarah Davis tried to comfort me again. "Once David Evans becomes famous, I'll fix your leg, and we'll go abroad together, where no one can bother us." My heart died that moment. When you are utterly disappointed in someone, you can't be bothered to struggle. I forced myself to sit up, saying calmly, "Sarah Davis, let's get a divorce." Sarah Davis frowned. "What nonsense are you talking?" I turned my head away, my mind made up. She picked up a cup and smashed it on the floor. Hearing the noise, David Evans rushed in immediately. Sarah Davis pointed at me and roared, "Robert Miller, don't forget who gave you everything you have today. Don't talk about me just crippling your leg. Even if I wanted your life, you'd be my ghost even after you died. I'll cancel all your schedules. You just stay here and recover. When the time is right, I'll come get you." With that, she hooked her arm through David Evans's and was about to leave. David Evans looked back at me and said, "It's best to tie him up. If he escapes, Sarah will definitely be upset." Sarah Davis ordered someone to tie me to the bed. "Sarah Davis, let me go." You're holding me prisoner. She didn't even turn her head. In the days that followed, I needed someone to assist with even the most basic needs, like a cripple with no dignity. 6 months later, Sarah Davis appeared in the hospital room again. This time she had prepared a dance costume designed to show off legs for me. Robert, today you LL wear this and perform on the same stage as David Evans. During the 6 months I was tied to the bed in the hospital room, I wasn't completely unaware of what was happening outside. The nurses pitied me and told me a lot. While I was confined to bed, David Evans and Sarah Davis went traveling and having fun every so often. David Evans had ordinary looks, mediocre dance skills, and was unmotivated. He couldn't make any waves in the entertainment industry. Recently, someone was driving the narrative, creating buzz for my return. Sarah Davis's action was meant to let David Evans ride my coattails. Robert, I promise this is the last time. Once David Evans is famous today, I'll take you abroad tomorrow. Sarah Davis seemed to be discussing it with me, but was actually just forcing me. My hospital gown was stripped off, and I was dressed in the dance costume. I was then carried and put into the program's van. Limping, I was practically thrown onto the stage. Under the stunned gaze of the crowd, David Evans finished his dance. Everyone's attention was drawn to my twisted leg, they hardly paid any attention to David Evans. At the same time, the video of David Evans accusing me of pushing him backstage 6 months ago went viral. Suddenly, David Evans became a sensation across the internet. I heard no one wanted to perform with Robert Miller, the guy with the twisted leg, except David Evans. That's the person who tried to ruin him. David Evans is too kind, he deserves to be famous. I heard David Evans's foot injury was quite serious that time, and his dancing skill plummeted. The first place from 6 months ago should have been David Evans's. Backstage, David Evans stepped on my head in the restroom stall and kept flushing. You're not still expecting Sarah to fulfill her promise to take you abroad, are you? Sarah is already pregnant with my child. When the baby is born, who do you think she'll choose? A popular star, or a husband with a twisted leg like you? Stanley lost all strength to resist. When David Evans kicked me out the door, he was seen by Sarah Davis, who was just coming in. She pulled David Evans back forcefully. Are you crazy? Bullying him now? If anyone sees you, you'll be completely ruined. In an instant, his eyes welled up with tears, looking round. So Sarah still cares about him? Fine, I'll leave. Sarah Davis pulled him into her embrace again. What am I going to do with you? Everything I do is for you. David Evans was a tearful mess in Sarah Davis's arms. After I become famous, will you marry me? Sarah Davis's body stiffened. David, I've told you many times, I'll give you everything I have, but I will only have one husband in this life, and that's Robert. His expression froze for a moment. He slowly slid down from Sarah Davis's body. Clutching his leg, he said, Sarah, my leg was hit by Robert just now, and it hurt so much. Sarah Davis's eyes filled with murderous intent. She kicked me against the wall. You're truly unrepentant. If anything else happens to David Evans's leg today, I'll break both of yours. Helping David Evans, she disappeared down the corridor. Just then, a woman walked in from outside and handed me a business card. It was a representative from Starline Entertainment. Most of the hottest stars in the country came from here. She helped me onto a wheelchair, carefully smoothed my hair with her hand, and then knelt beside me, showing me the utmost respect. Mr. Miller, we have always admired your talent. Our company has the video of David Evans falling down the stairs himself that year, and we have the best medical facilities in the country that can restore your leg. If you are willing to work with us, we can resolve all your current problems. Looking at my own reflection, tormented and barely human, I made up my mind to leave this place. Help me prepare the contract termination agreement and the divorce papers. I'll sign with you. An hour lat. Inside Sarah Davis's office, her assistant ran in from outside, comforting David Evans while asking, did you bring Robert Miller back? Did he admit his mistake? The assistant, barely daring to breathe, replied hesitantly, Ms. Davis, when we arrived, Mr. Miller was already gone. Sarah Davis's eyes were cold, her brows knitted tightly. Gone? A cripple, where could he go in just a few minutes? Go find him immediately. The assistant didn't move. He took 2 stacks of documents from his pocket. Mr. Miller is gone, but the company's front desk received 2 letters for you just now. Sarah Davis was about to open them. David Evans whined, wanting Sarah Davis to feed him strawberries. Sarah Davis impatiently threw the box of strawberries next to him. She had no mind for anything else now, she just wanted to know what kind of game Robert Miller was playing with her. For some reason, she felt a terrible panic in her heart. With trembling hands, she opened the letters. One read contract termination agreement. The other read divorce papers. Robert Miller, a cripple, actually dared to divorce me? Where could he possibly go without me? Ms. Davis, these 2 letters were sent from Starline Entertainment. Mr. Miller is already preparing to sign with them. Sarah Davis tore the 2 letters to shreds in anger, scattering them in the air. She refused to believe Robert Miller had actually left her. Clink, clink, clink. A ring dropped out of the envelope. It was their wedding ring. Inside Robert Miller's ring, her initials SD, Sarah Davis, were engraved. Every single memory, every little detail of their past, combined with the reality of Robert Miller's departure, left Sarah Davis in a daze. Clearly, she'd just had a lapse in judgment. She hadn't fallen in love with David Evans, it was just a mix of pity and temptation. Clearly, she had already decided to take him away from here soon. Clearly, she had given him so many promises. Why wouldn't he wait for her just a little longer? Could he already know about the baby? Seeing Sarah Davis was upset, David Evans approached her, offering to feed her a strawberry. With a wave of her hand, she knocked all the strawberries onto the floor. Stop bothering me. Get lost. This baby can't stay. I'm going to the hospital to get an abortion. Hearing Sarah Davis wanted to abort the baby, David Evans immediately panicked. He immediately clutched his leg. Sarah, my leg hurts so much. Quickly, help me look. Sarah Davis stood up, flustered. I'm not a doctor. If your leg hurts, go see a doctor yourself. David Evans understood who Sarah Davis was upset about. He knew that playing the victim was his only leverage now. He hit his own leg hard with his hand. Then I don't need this leg anymore. Seeing this, she hurriedly stopped him. Why are you taking it out on your leg? Tears streaming down his face, he cried, I know you still love Robert. I don't want to cause you trouble, Sarah. My existence is just a burden, but the baby is innocent. In just a few words, he seemed to be taking the blame, but in reality, it was to gain sympathy. Touching her abdomen, Sarah Davis suddenly hesitated. If it wasn't for that night we got drunk, this baby wouldn't exist. It's my fault, I shouldn't take it out on the baby. She temporarily abandoned the idea of getting an abortion and had someone take David Evans to the hospital for a checkup. But looking at him, she no longer felt even a flicker of attraction. The assistant had just left when he rushed back in. Ms. Davis, this is bad. David Evans's career might be ruined. Sarah Davis didn't want to deal with this right now. Didn't he just get famous by being pushed by Robert? What could ruin him? The assistant showed Sarah Davis the video he had just received. In the video, Robert Miller had already walked onto the stage, but David Evans suddenly came out of the dressing room, closed his eyes, and rolled down the stairs himself. Then he sat on the ground and started yelling. Robert Miller pushed me. Help me. So she had really misunderstood Robert Miller. And she had actually broken Robert Miller's leg just because David Evans scraped his ankle. She knew how much Robert Miller had sacrificed for his dream. What did I do to Robert? She muttered to herself, as if in a trance. The assistant took out another document. Ms. Davis, Starline Entertainment is demanding you sign the 2 agreements immediately, or else, they will expose all our company's illegal operations from recent years and take us to court. Sarah Davis's face turned pale, and she slumped into the chair. Starline Entertainment was very efficient. In less than 2 days, I received the 2 contracts already signed by Sarah Davis. Although I used to be an artist under Sarah Davis's company, I also handled some company business after we got married. I knew all about the company's unspeakable illegal activities. Starline Entertainment handled everything for me. Now my leg has recovered very well, with almost no difference from before. Robert, this is the 98th letter we've received this month. During the year I spent recovering in the hospital, I actively cut off all contact with the outside world. The only way people could contact me was through letters. Usually, only family members would send one or two to check on my recovery. The rest were endless letters from Sarah Davis. All the contents were pretty much the same. Many were soaked with tears and wrinkled. After reading a few, I got tired of them. I sat in the wicker chair, closing my eyes and basking in the sun, and casually tossed the letter into the trash. From now on, just throw away any letters from Sarah Davis. I heard Sarah Davis couldn't have an abortion due to health reasons, and she gave birth to the child after David Evans's desperate pleas. But their relationship wasn't public, and the child was never seen in public. David Evans is currently maintaining his fame by portraying himself as a kind person. But that's about to change. Is everything that needs to be prepared ready? Robert, you can rest assured about our company's capabilities. You just focus on dancing well, and leave everything else to us. That year, I played the role of a villain and a freak with a twisted leg. Now, these have become my best stepping stones. People might forget the first place winner of that live competition, but they will definitely remember the person whose leg was twisted backward and forward and thrown onto the stage. Even now, a year after I withdrew, the media outside still uses my story from time to generate traffic. 2 days later, in a variety show competition, with a fiercely expressive dance, I instantly captivated the entire audience. The moment I took off my mask, the entire audience seemed to hold its breath. Robert Miller. It's Robert Miller. I thought it was just a similar name. Isn't that the guy with the twisted leg from back then? What kind of surgery? That's amazing. I became famous again. The internet was filled with praise. At the same time, another group of people condemned me. So what if he dances well? Did everyone forget he deliberately harmed someone back then? Who knows if he's stepping on someone else again this time? With his skill level, why would he need to step on anyone? David Evans is the real talentless hack, isn't he? Netizens were questioning David Evans's dancing skills and discussing why I would target such an insignificant opponent back then. Seeing his position was unstable, David Evans posted online, playing the victim. Seeing Robert make a comeback, I'm truly relieved. Although he made a mistake back then, causing my dance potential to be forever stunted, I still hope to see him do better and better. He wanted to use his generous and kind persona to gain sympathy again. This time, I wouldn't give him the chance. We had already prepared the video of David Evans rolling down the stairs himself. To my surprise, Sarah Davis actually released it before us. She called me. Robert, don't worry, this time I'll protect you. Perhaps she thought I would be moved, but I just silently hung up, blocked, and deleted her contact. I changed my phone number and moved to a new place. Sarah Davis couldn't find me at all anymore. My schedule was packed, traveling to different places every few days. But every time I got off the plane, Sarah Davis was the first among the people waiting. The former Ms. Davis, now holding a support sign, being jostled around in the crowd. I just wore my sunglasses, acting as if I didn't see her. When going down the stairs, my foot accidentally stumbled. Sarah Davis immediately pushed through several people and rushed over to help me. Robert, is your leg okay? The concern and distress in her eyes were genuine. It's just that this genuineness would have mattered earlier. Just like with a regular fan, I smiled politely. It's fine, small issue, thank you. Seeing my distant manner, her eyes turned red instantly. Her lips moved, she wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't. She stepped back into the crowd, raising the support sign in her hand. Sarah Davis's heartfelt appearance was captured by the media. That night, Sarah Davis was given the title Devoted Fan. Netizens started digging into Sarah Davis's past and unearthed an account even I had forgotten about. That account was one Sarah Davis used to post about our daily life and love. It recorded every one of my training sessions, every meal, every preference. I couldn't help but open it and look through it. May 21st, Robert's birthday. Secretly prepared a surprise for him. Wishing Robert an early realization of his dance dream. The accompanying picture showed 9,999 roses placed outside my door, and a cake topped with an elegant dancer. June 17th, Robert fell and injured his hand while dancing today, scraping off a lot of skin. My heart aches. Sarah Davis. Like a wronged puppy, tearfully blew on my injured hand. September 29th, secretly planning Robert's proposal. I swear I will never let him suffer any hardship in this life. In the beautifully decorated proposal venue, the ring sparkled under the moonlight. No one would have thought that the person who used to worry endlessly even when I scraped my hand would personally sever my leg. The account's updates stopped on February 13th last year. What happened that day? I tried to remember. David Evans, in tattered clothes, lunged into Sarah Davis's arms, blinking his tearful, wide eyes at her. "Sister, give me some money to save my grandfather. I'll do anything you want." Sarah Davis fell for it instantly, unconsciously letting go of my hand. Looking back now, I should have let go then. The old posts dug up by netizens put me and Sarah Davis back on the trending list. My God! This is Robert Miller's girlfriend. Big news. Everyone praised us as a perfect match, a match made in heaven. Amidst the netizens' clamor, Sarah Davis seemed to find courage again. She must have gone to great lengths to get my current address from one of my collaborating artists. I live in a rather remote area, sparsely populated. Carrying a guitar, she came to my door and sang the love song she used to sing when she was pursuing me. After just one line, I picked up a trash can from upstairs and threw it down. I said coldly, "What are you howling about in the middle of the night?" Sarah Davis smiled a little sadly. "Robert, congratulations. You finally achieved your dream." I didn't hold back at all. "Yeah, if it weren't for you, I would have achieved it 2 years ago." Sarah Davis's smile froze on her face. She remained silent for a long time. Finally, she took out a card that was already crumpled from her pocket. "This is the promise card you gave me once. You said, as long as I held this card, you would grant me any wish." Looking at her like that, I felt nauseous for no reason, wondering who she was putting on this show of affection for. "The card is valid for as long as I love you, but my love for you has been completely trampled on by you. Sarah Davis, the divorce papers are signed. What you're doing now, I can report you for harassment." The rain poured down. Sarah Davis stood downstairs like a statue, refusing to leave. Emily Carter stood pacing by the door. The atmosphere was subtly awkward. She scratched her head sheepishly. "She's standing guard there, how am I supposed to leave?" I gave a helpless, bitter smile. "There's a guest room, but it hasn't been cleaned in a while. I'll sleep on the sofa tonight." Emily Carter and I were college classmates. Right after graduation, she entered the entertainment industry with her stunning beauty and excellent acting skills and quickly became famous. Back then, I was still a struggling dancer in the lower ranks. After establishing herself in the entertainment industry, she started her own company. One of the most successful ones was the entertainment company, Starline Entertainment. My ability to leave Sarah Davis and rise in the entertainment industry this time was entirely due to Emily Carter's help. Seeing me constantly looking at Sarah Davis standing outside in the yard, Emily Carter stood in front of me. "Want me to handle her?" I smiled gratefully. "Emily, you've already helped me too much. Don't trouble yourself." Emily Carter looked at me, her eyes curving into a gentle smile like a crescent moon. "Whatever Robert says." When she turned to look out the window, a hint of murderous intent seemed to flash in her eyes. Listening to the sound of the rain, I slowly fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, Sarah Davis was no longer there downstairs. On the sofa, Emily Carter had also disappeared. I called Emily Carter's assistant. The assistant said Emily Carter had tied up Sarah Davis and taken her to the cliffside overlook early that morning. I was afraid she would do something extreme. I immediately had my assistant drive me there. Sarah Davis's death wouldn't be a loss, but I couldn't let Emily Carter get into trouble. I had always known about Emily Carter's feelings for me. When she saw what Sarah Davis had done to my leg, she looked like she wanted to kill her on the spot. The whole way there, I prayed that Emily Carter wouldn't do anything foolish. As soon as we arrived at the cliffside overlook, I saw several men in black, bodyguards, blocking the entrance. "Excuse me, Ms. Carter has booked this area for today, no one is allowed in." "I am Robert Miller." The bodyguard took off his sunglasses and looked closely at me. "Oh, it's Mr. Miller. Please come in." After walking a few steps, I saw Emily Carter had tied Sarah Davis to an ancient tree. Beneath the tree, two sharp metal blades were set up. "Which do you choose? Your left leg or your right?" Sarah Davis was already bruised all over her face, yet she still looked at Emily Carter and sneered. "You brought me here today. You shouldn't have told Robert Miller, right?" Emily Carter froze. "You didn't dare tell him because you weren't confident about who he would choose between you and me. Robert has always loved me. You think you're avenging him, but he'll only hate you for this. Robert didn't choose you 10 years ago, and he won't choose you 10 years from now." Emily Carter's eyes grew colder and colder. "You're so annoying." She pressed a button on her hand, moving the metal blades towards Sarah Davis's head. She said in an unreadable tone, "Release." Just as the ropes were about to be cut, I shouted loudly, "Don't." Emily Carter and Sarah Davis turned around at the same time. Sarah Davis smiled smugly, but the light in Emily Carter's eyes seemed to shatter. Sarah Davis's tone was light and airy. "See, Emily Carter? Was I wrong? Robert can't forget about me." She looked at me with anticipation, thinking I would untie her. But I walked over to Emily Carter's side. "If she dies like this, it's bound to trace back to you. She's not worth it. We need to make it look like an accident, and leave her wishing she were dead." The color instantly drained from Sarah Davis's face. Emily Carter smiled brightly, a huge weight lifted. "All right." The day before, netizens were still shipping me and Sarah Davis. The next day, news spread that Sarah Davis had been in a car accident and had both legs amputated. Everyone suspected that I was afraid of our relationship being exposed and wanted to silence her. A screenshot of a chat conversation turned the tide of public opinion. In the screenshot, David Evans repeatedly urged Sarah Davis, "Sarah, Timmy has a high fever. I don't know what to do. Please come back and see him." Timmy threw up again. "Sarah, when are you coming back?" David Evans knew Sarah Davis had come to see me. While sending me insulting messages, he was simultaneously playing the victim with Sarah Davis. The company posted a statement on my behalf. This is a screenshot of a chat conversation found during the police investigation, which we obtained through legal channels. It has been confirmed that Sarah Davis's car accident was caused by her worrying about her son and subsequently driving against traffic at high speed. We ask everyone to be cautious with their words and not spread rumors. I posted a statement at the appropriate time. Yesterday, some videos from the airport caused widespread discussion and led to many misunderstandings. I officially signed the divorce papers with Sarah Davis a year ago and also terminated my contract with her company. There are no issues of worrying about relationship exposure or silencing someone, but furthermore, the reason for our divorce is that Sarah Davis had an affair with David Evans, and they already have a child. I respect their situation and wish them well. Sarah Davis had an accident on her way home while rushing back due to her concern for her child. I am also deeply saddened. David Evans Probab. Ly never imagined that the messages he sent to Sarah Davis would become the perfect excuse for Sarah Davis's accident. When I went to the hospital to visit Sarah Davis, both of her legs had been amputated. David Evans was sitting on the floor crying, holding their several-month-old child. Seeing me come in, he put the child down and lunged at me, trying to hit me. The bodyguards stopped him in time. David Evans pointed at me and shouted, "Robert Miller, don't think I don't know. You did this. You're still holding onto resentment from the past, waiting for a chance to get revenge." I gently lowered the hand he was pointing at me. "David Evans, you need proof to make accusations. The police investigation is complete. Besides your constant messages urging her to come home, Sarah Davis had no other reason to drive against traffic at high speed." He collapsed onto the floor, crying hysterically. "Tell me, you did this. It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of me." Sarah Davis lay on the bed, looking pathetic, her lips pale. She reached out a hand to David Evans. "David, my legs hurt so much, quickly, help me see what's wrong." David Evans shouted at her, out of control. "Go find a doctor." "How would I know? I don't want a doctor, it's too undignified. I took such good care of you normally, just help me look." Sarah Davis, now you also understand how awful it feels to be confined to bed, not being treated like a human. David Evans rushed over, grabbed the child, and fled like a madman. He hadn't run far before there was a commotion outside. Someone recognized David Evans, grabbed his hair, and started yelling insults. "You framed Robert Miller, had an affair with someone else's wife, caused Robert Miller's leg to be crippled for a year, and then caused your own woman's death. How dare you still be alive? Holding the child, David Evans tried to run, but he was stopped and beaten by several enraged people. Many people tried to intervene, but they couldn't stop them. The terrified child, crying hysterically, was snatched away and brutally thrown to the ground, dying instantly. David Evans froze on the spot, completely unresponsive no matter who grabbed and pulled at him. From then on, the entertainment industry lost to David Evans, but the streets gained a wandering madman. Every day, someone brought Sarah Davis the medication causing paralysis, as I instructed. After taking it for several months, Sarah Davis couldn't move her entire body except for her eyelids. She could only be kept alive by an 4-drip glucose solution. The last time I went to see her, Sarah Davis's eyes had become vacant. When she saw me come in, there seemed to be a flicker of light in her eyes. Her eyes were fixed on me without blinking. The nurse specifically assigned to her handed me a piece of paper. There were 2 lines of writing on the paper. One line read, "Robert, I love you, forgive me." The handwriting was still somewhat neat. The second line, however, was shaky and looked out of control. But the shapes of the words could still be vaguely recognized. 3 words, "Kill me." The nurse explained to me, the first line was written 2 months ago, when Ms. Davis's hands were gradually losing sensation. She asked for it to be left for you. The second line was written 10 days ago. After that, her hands became immobile, and her entire body became paralyzed. I walked to her side and gently touched her face. "How could I bear to kill you? Sarah Davis, I have some good news for you. I'm going on a trip abroad soon. It's just a shame it won't be with you. It's my honeymoon trip. Emily Carter and I are getting married." I took out the ring and showed it to her in the sunlight. But tears streamed down Sarah Davis's face from the corners of her eyes. She stared at me, her eyes growing redder and redder, her chest heaving heavily, as if she had suffered some intense shock. I thought, if she could speak, it would surely be that same meaningless phrase, "Forgive me." But once harm has been inflicted, how can it be so easily forgiven? After instructing the nurse to make sure she stayed alive, I walked out of the hospital room. Outside the hospital entrance, Emily Carter stood in the shade of a tree, looking up at the sky. Just like the first time I met her in college. If, on the day we parted ways 10 years ago, when she asked if I would go to Fairview with her, I had said yes, everything would have been better. Fortunately, it's not too late now. I ran to her and pulled her into my arms. "My wife, let's go home."